Okay, everybody, we have our semi-final at the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final. And, well, as you can actually see here right now, we currently have Brex's holdout. To be determined is playing against Jabronis. And we have the Haka band out. We actually had Brex's being played in the quarterfinals already once. And the Jabronis banned the same hero, TBD right now with an ETC ban. The interesting part was that the Outlaws who played in the quarterfinals against the Jabronis had a bit of an different approach to the map. Normally when we're talking Brex's holdout, you have a dedicated solo laner. This could be an Alarak, it can be a Rexa on this map since you have to hold the beacon, and Misha's pet Rexa is pretty good for that. And of course one of the heroes that totally shines here, we have seen in the last game on Brex's, is also Gul'dan. That bad boy has a lot of wave clear and he usually gets his stacking done relatively quickly on this map. Shox and L, thank you very much for the resub, dude. It's appreciated. While we have Malfurion Muradin. So basically, TBD's beard game is really strong here. Malfurion is going for the green one, and I mean, nothing beats Muradin's beard. A dwarf is very proud when it comes down to his beard. He needs something to compensate for the size that he has, because a dwarf is just like, I mean, he's not really a tall fella, you know, so he usually has a bit of confidence issues, like he's really self-conscious and doesn't have a lot of confidence. That's why he's throwing hammers around the entire time and why he's like raging so hard. But, I mean, what do you think Avatar is? That's basically like him raging because someone made, size jokes. Anyways, he's a badass, and of course we can hit that Stormbolt and then drop the root right underneath him. When we're looking at the Jabronis, on the other hand, they have Oriel and Tychus. Now, linked on Oriel was something that we've seen in the last game already. With us disregarding for a moment that he saved the Stitchers, that would have been 100% of a kill in the last game. His Oriel was super solid, so that's good. Hachi, Trevor, thank you very much for the resub, dude. And we have a Tychus in there. So, wave clear, of course, on this map reigns supreme. You have a 2-lane map. You want to make sure that you get a little bit of snowball going, ideally. Look at that Chen ban. Guess why that is? Exactly, because we're talking top laners right now. So, which top laners are currently still in the game? We could see the Alarak, we could see a Thrall, and we could see Misha, or like the other guy, so Rexa. Zarya is a hero that you oftentimes see banned here too, because when you're looking at the 4-man setup, having too much sustain there, and then also like Zarya's positioning prowess and like on point, plus shields can be very annoying. So Jaina is also very cool for the poke with machine gun build. You have the range in there. There is a classic TBD at this point, a Medivh. I'm really just wondering if they have the guts to go for a Zeratul with this. But I don't really think that Zeratul necessarily... I mean, Zeratul would fit the comp, but I'm not quite sure if he fits the map. Who would solo lane if they actually pull a Zeratul in here to go for the combo with Void Prison and Ring of Frost? It would probably be Medivh up at the solo lane. I'm not quite sure if Zeratul himself would take the solo lane there. He would probably lose out quite a bit. But so far Jabronis doesn't even have a solo laner, so we don't really know yet what they would pick there. Zeratul has a couple of tools, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't really want to be stuck on a lane. He wants to be one of those guys that can roam a little bit and can like jump in for a couple of opportunities and take him out there. So, there's Johanna, probably the fiercest woman in the Nexus. Probably not. We still have my girl in there, still Vala. But when it comes to the haircut, she's definitely like on point with it. Jaina doesn't really have a haircut, she has a hoodie, as does Vala. But when we're talking about haircuts, Johanna is on point. Always immaculate, like she just went to the hairstylist. But they go for Tyrael, another guy that is like ashamed of his face, as is Oriel, both of them hiding their face right now. We don't know why, what happened there. Something maybe in the past. And Leoric as... Leoric? Really? Now that surprises me. I mean, okay, if you see his band, Chen is banned, that's 2 heroes that he would take. Who else? It's not really a Stitches comp that they're running here, so that doesn't really work. So we have a Zul that they played in the last game that actually worked quite well for them. They're never at the top lane. I like the Zul better than the Leoric, I suppose. Let me think about that for a moment. Leoric against this setup. I suppose you can play Leoric here, but the problem is that you have a Medivh against you, so he's just going to open up portals the entire time whenever you drop your Entomb. And going into March, nobody wants to go into a March. That old... Please do it. Yes! Oh, I Murk, I die, I Murk again. I like it. They go for Murky. Okay, now there we have our solo laner up at the top lane. I'm a fan. I like this. Zul against Murky. It's the battle of the ages that we were all waiting for. A frog in a bubble. So this is going to be awesome. Guys, Brex's Khaldor is our first game. We have a Murky composition. That's a win right there. So we're going to go straight into game number 1 of Brex's Khaldor between the Bees and the Jabronis. The game is on, ladies and gentlemen, and well, while we currently have the wrong overlay, which we're going to change, I want to still introduce you to our two teams that we have in our first map on the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final. To the left side, it is Blade on Varian. Not quite sure when exactly Varian was picked here, because I was promised Murky, and apparently we didn't get Murky. We have Varian right now. I got trolled, and I'm not happy about it. I like Varians, first time that we have him in here, but still. The Bees with Blade on Varian, with AD already on Medivh. Where's my frog? I want to have my frog in a bubble. I'm salty now. Nick on Jaina, Kirsten on Malfurion, and Bad Benny is playing Muradin. And to the right side, we have Jabronis with Linked on Oriel, Dickazoy on Tychus, Roskbeck on Tyrael, Macke on Gul'dan, and Kronos is playing Zul. And I'm still salty. I want to have the frog. I was excited to see a frog. I got promised a frog. Where's my frog? Give me my frog. I Murk, I die, I Murk again. I mean, to be honest, and also, like, if that is Murky, he became really ugly. Like, you need a shave, bro. So, Overpower on level 1. I didn't even see on the loading screen that it was Murky. Think about that. I got so hyped, I didn't even see it on the loading screen. So I was probably the last person to realize that Murky wasn't really part of that lineup here, which makes me a very sad panda. Also makes me sound a little bit silly while we have that break here. But yeah, so we have Varian. I'm happy to see Varian, don't get me wrong. It's the first time that I actually see Varian in a competitive environment. But I was promised a frog, and I want my frog. So on Brex's holdout, it's a 1-4 split. We have no frog, therefore the top lane is taken by Medivh. We've been talking about this a little bit when during the draft. Once that we saw Murky, we were actually happy that we would see him up here at the top lane. This is not the case. When we're looking at the opponent, we have, again, our good old buddy Zul up here. And down to the bottom of the map, at the same time, as you can see right now, Macke is already trying to get his stacks again. Now, Macke was a little bit unlucky in the last game with his positioning, a little bit far forward there, which oftentimes causes slight problems. That might become an issue if you're going up against Varian. But the cool thing about Varian is, of course, that on level 4 he gets a stun. And it's a bit of a, it's like a 6-second cooldown stun, which is point and click. Like, you don't even have to use a skill shot or anything for that. You just, like, click that thing on a hero, it makes boom, and he charges in and starts to stun it out. So that is pretty nasty, and if you have a Muradin behind that can also land another Stormbolt, you can imagine how that lasts. So we have, of course, a shotgun build already started on the side of Jaina. You kind of need that. Bit of a trap set up here at the top 2. Yeah, there we go, and goodbye, Kronos! Nice kill. Very nice engage that we just had there. Blade in this sense, of course, huge part of him. Also, like, charging in, making sure that he gets damage in, gets a slow in with his Q, and therefore early lead for them. A rotation has to be started after that, since they would lose out on too much of experience. But they basically lost the wave here already, as Rasmi has taken over to the top. Now Zul will move to the top, will then send Tyrael back down. But in the meantime, we have a 4 versus 3 down here, where target number 2 is falling, and in this case, it is Gul'dan. So Gul'dan does get completely obliterated here. I mean, he basically just got, it was a merciful death that he was granted, because let's face it, if you have like such a huge problem with your teeth like Gul'dan, like that must hurt. Nobody can tell me that doesn't hurt. So he needs a good dentist if he really wants to fix that. In the meantime, he had a bit of time to chill out at the Nexus, but he is already back, and that's probably also the reason why Gul'dan is always angry, because he always has a huge amount of pain there. I can't really blame the guy. If you've ever really had a horrible toothache, you know what I'm talking about. Bad Benny has to yield the spot though. I mean, the beacon up at the top lane is under firm control of the Beast, so they are doing well here. They're also trying to go for second kill against Kronos, and there it is! Lion's Tooth, boom, in your face. So yeah, gets the shot in there, so that works. Now we're gonna see the stun as well. But these kills that we see at the top lane against Zul, they're really starting to be a bit frustrating for the Jabronis. They're struggling against this. Now when we're talking about these two teams, the one thing that I really want you to keep in mind is that the Bees already qualified for HGC Euro 2017, which basically means that they already confirmed themselves to be one of the top 8 teams on the European server. And you can argue that they are in the top 4 since they qualified in the first qualifier. Once again, the stun combo. Rosmek gets away with his Tyrael, but you can tell that with Warbringer now taken as a level 4 talent, that extra stun that you have in there becomes rather nasty, especially if follow up with a second stun. This is exactly what happens there. So, to the top lane, by now they have apparently Tychus there. Zul said, boys, I'm afraid all alone at the top lane. I need someone to take over for me because, well, I want to be a happy panda down the bot lane and I want to have some friends around me since I might look scary, but they kill me all the time and I don't like that. So, yeah, that happened. Gul'dan, by the way, has 14 stacks so far. We're 3 minutes and 30 seconds in. He's trying to get the stack process going, but not quite as successful as in the last match. We're seeing him again with a Consume Soul. Level 7 is most likely going to be the cooldown reduction thanks to the Fel Flames again. And this top lane is just getting wrecked. I mean, every single time you see Varian and Jaina appear up at the top lane, it's more or less a guaranteed kill. And that is starting to become an issue. Yes, the wall down here has fallen. That's definitely a bit of a plus. But overall, this combo with Varian seems insane. I would not be surprised if Blizzard at some point would nerf the level 4 talent on Varian, because it just seems absolutely brutal. The cooldown is so short on that thing, and you have a point and click stun. I mean, like, that is insane. Yeah, there comes Blade again. Sees what he can do with that. Varian is basically the male melee version of Tyrande. That's basically what Varian is. Stun into stun and Jaina for the damage. Does that remind you of something? It reminds me a lot of Tyrande. Yes, Tyrande looks better. She's also like ranged and she can probably... Like, she adds a lot more, but overall it's very similar. It's a little bit that stun meta again that we had a long time ago. Varian is just going in, then you have a Root following it up, a Stormbolt following up, and then Jaina in the backline Ancestor is like, I got this! And drops the Blizzard. So, yeah. Second Wind, basically like the standard talent for Varian to take on level 7. Level 1 again, overpower in case that you haven't really caught it at the beginning of the game. But full machine gun build on Jaina, Loon's Grace makes it a little bit easier to drop the Root. The momentum is there. I mean, this is a pretty big wave that we're currently seeing up to the top. And we will at least have a forward fall. Yeah, in this case, zip, stun into stun, and then there's like Jaina, and she says like, I got this, and drops it. So yeah, drops the Blizzard, gets all the waves in, we have no Fury with the Root on the ground, the target can't escape. You need a cleanse here. I mean, you desperately need a cleanse. And guess what they don't have? Exactly, a cleanse. Because right now, they are running an Oriel, so you can wait for the Aegis to drop, and then you get a chance. But until that happens, you're just going to lose a lot of heroes. That was a really nice save and a good dash here, but you can tell how difficult or how dangerous it is. Pet Benny just managed to miss a stun. That, I guess the hero was right next to him. Okay, I was a bit unlucky, I suppose. Hashtag never lucky. Blade probably still had the cooldown, not quite ready yet. The Master's Touch, by the way, is already in play for ADRD, and I mean, we know that he's a really frightening medieval player. The bottom wave did a fair amount of damage, with Zul just like pushing through. Bot wave did some work, no doubt about that. I mean, at this point, as you can see right here, we're having the fort nearly dealt with. Linked, Marker, Dickazoy, and Rosberg are currently to the top, trying to get a couple of camps that will relieve pressure from the lanes, push those back a bit. As expected, we have the cooldown reduction on Corruption with the Fel Flame. It's going to be really nice to get the extra damage in with the Echoed Corruption later on. But the quest talent is also not completed yet. He's currently at 24 out of 40 stacks that he needs for it. Muradin, on the other hand, let's check out for just a moment how much Bad Benny is currently doing in terms of like extra damage. So again, they're trying to burst, right? So we have seen Muradin players already stacking even without heavy burst comps, but in this setup we really want to annihilate one target, and that's what they're doing. This is also one of the reasons why Bad Benny decided to spec straight into the perfect storm on level 1 and make sure that he gets a bit more burst damage out. Because already at this point he's doing another 55 damage. It will add up over time, and then you are in a position where you can really just contribute a little bit to getting the target blown to pieces. So the Aegis on the side of Oriel is going to be really important, and I suppose the Sanctification could also be dropped by Tyrael later on. That's going to be a bit of a game changer for sure. Heroic ability, the Colossus Smash. So it's all about getting that extra damage in here. And yes, at this point, boom! And bye. That was a Tyrael that just blew up within a second. Like, Tyrael walks out, stun, Blizzard, Root, and everything is dead. That's what's happening here. Like, that's what happened there. That was like the short version. And with a 2-level lead, heroic abilities against none, and a Murd in that zone, so Camp pushing the top lane, they decide to get an 8-minute boss. That's basically what's happening right now. So, yeah, good old Varian up at the front here. He's doing his thing, doing his parrying as well. And they have a boss. So, the reckoning, my friends, is at hand right now. Talking builds in general, we have Heretical Forging for the cooldown reduction on the side of Tyrael, and we're seeing the Purge Evil taken. There's nothing that the red team can do. They need experience. Just look at the wave, 36% already on the progress bar against 0. We're seeing the boss at the bot lane. I mean, seriously, what do you do at this point? You have a boss pushing the bot lane, your Gul'dan dies because, well, why not? You have your opponent in complete control of 2 beacons, you can't move out, you finally have level 10, but you're fighting a 4 vs 5 right now. Your opponent is just like, is diving a keep. I mean, they're just like diving the keep. They're not even going for 1 target, they're going for 2. They're going for 2 targets at the same time. That's probably why they didn't kill one. Would serve them right if they would lose a hero because of it, but yeah, they could have easily blown one of them apart right now. So this is going to be 100% Zerg wave, crushing through the bot lane with a boss, and Zul is dead. There's the Ring of Fail just hit. Nick was apparently expecting someone to stun one of the targets out, especially of course Dickosaur, so that he can land the Ring of Frost. That didn't happen, and therefore they just simply moved through, but it's not like they really need it, because again, 2-level lead, Zerg wave with 100%, Zul not there, boss pushing through as well. I mean, this is really a death ball that we see. This is what StarCraft was all about. Varian died, what happened? Varian apparently slipped and drowned or something. Like, Varian is down, so that's the first. 9 kills against 2. Bad Benny is also in a bit of trouble, but we have a keep about to fall, and I don't see how you will save that. That's not just not gonna happen. Keeps down 10 minutes in. So yeah, already the portal on Medivh. I mean, Medivh of course always getting a bit of extra pressure in just by opening up the portal. You don't have to use that thing, just its existence is already threatened. 19,000 damage on Jaina, 14 on Medivh, 80 Ardy, just once again being a complete pillar when it comes to the Medivh play here. Yeah, you can see the stats for yourself right now. Especially if Zul suffered. He was the one guy up at the solo lane, and he didn't really have an easy time against the rotations. When we're talking about the talents, now that we have 16 as well, sorry, 13, we have Quickening with a portal cooldown, spamming that out a little bit more. We're seeing for Varian the banner of Dalaran, and he puts that down immediately. There's the Aegis. Now we're talking. This is like basically your Cleanse 2.0, and now they have a fighting chance. Maybe a kill against Nick. That would be a good start. Gets in your face, Tyrael. He's already dealing out the justice right now. For justice! Goes in and drops that dirty Jaina. He wants those kills. So right now with the Aegis, they can actually go for a bit of a counterplay here. This is what we've been waiting for. We have been waiting for that to happen. Because what did you do back in the old days against Murd and Tyrande? You got a cleanse and then you were good to go. And at this point, we are actually looking at this particular setup where we have, as you might have already guessed, a decent cleanse. And yes, a bit of a higher cooldown, but still, like, that thing works. And once that you... The thing is, like, once the combo is being dropped, right, all of the heroic ability, or all of the abilities are in cooldown. So then you engage. When Jaina can't do anything, yeah, where... No Aegis ready just yet, 2 seconds, and yeah, now it's ready, but couldn't use anything. So that's another quick kill. That's where just Varian says, like, no mercy. Okay, so with both keeps down, actually like one keep down, the second one is still right there. And neither fort taken apart. This one has still a couple of hit points left. We're seeing now the beacons again activated. But at least we have 13 versus 13 in talents. So despite the fact that we have 10 kills against 4, we are still looking at a setup in which both teams are on an even talent level. So they can at least like fight on that. The Blinding Flash has been taken, the Spray and Pray. We're having also Imposing Will right now. Health Stone, that's going to help a little bit. And yeah, surviving talents in general would really do a whole lot for them. Blade again goes in, no follow-up just yet though, and immediately the skeletons on the ground. But at the same time, the mages are still zoning them out a little bit. ADR is rather low though, and Rasmek goes in again. Medivh is down, but Benny jumps back, is clapping the ground, trying to, of course, heal and slow the onslaught of the opponent's team. But the wave is at 100% again. Once more, we are seeing the 2Bs determined with another big wave. And yeah, so that is going to hurt quite a bit, and most likely it will destroy keep number 2 unless they can somehow Can they somehow burst that down? I mean, like, they still have Medivh not with them. So it's a 5 versus 4. They need to try to get that insta-kill. Aegis! What? What did you do? Linked! What did you do? You had no cooldown. Varian is dead, so the counter kill is good. Still, they need to be careful. And Linked is zoned out now as well. He can't really go through. But we have maybe a kill against Varian. No, he jumped out. They are actually saving this, though. Linked missed the Aegis on Tyrael, so he didn't get that in time, but they still saved their keep. That was a decent defense. Getting a kill on Varian here, that was an important one. That was really good. But the level advantage that we have for the blue team, for the Bees, is still pretty significant since they're heading into 16 right now. But yeah, that was, for a moment, a little bit scary there. Linked zoned out, not really getting into a decent position, missing his Aegis as well. Could have backfired. Could have backfired harder. Could have been a second keep here for sure. So now ADRD is there, and they want it. They want it. Oh, do they? Yes, there is immediately. It goes for the ult and locks them into the stasis, but there's no capitalizing on it. Nick is under a lot of pressure the entire time. They are trying to go for Tyrael again, and nice job here. Gets the silence in, drops him. Tyrael is down. They take the camp away, and now with the portal, they're going for Gul'dan. The Aegis is in, but that's not going to help them, or is it? Nah, Gul'dan is too far out. There's no Tyrael that can help out with another Sanctification or something like that. So in this case, there's nobody to really jump that backline either, which was what happened in the earlier cases when we saw the Aegis being dropped. So now a double kill against the Jabronis, and that is resulting in another boss attempt on the side of the Bees, which is immediately contested. It's a 3 versus 5 against a talent advantage, though, because they realize they need to do something, but they just don't have the tools available. Tyrael isn't there yet. Tyrael himself could have maybe made a bit of a difference with the Sanctification. He doesn't have level 16 talents yet, so there's no holy ground. But there is a massive push now headed for the bot lane, and they're trying to go for Linked, and they drop immediately. Oriel is down. Once again, Varian with a quick stun, this time against Tyrael. Tyrael jumping out, played a bit low on mana. They're waiting for the boss. They're trying to end, of course, but there's also in this case another wave that we can potentially get. Boss in this case, by the way, did go top lane. So basically they pressure the core. They want to try and end, try to see if it can get a kill. In the meantime, boss is pushing for the keep. So it's a win one way or another. Already on 16, the Juggernaut has been taken here. Yeah. Dropping even more damage, so they're all about the burst, as we've said before. 3 against 5. Boss goes through the keep, and at this point, the Bees can just simply retreat and get another wave if they want to. I mean, they still have that talent lead, but they are still like lingering around and seeing if they can maybe just get another kill there. Decide now that the boss is about to be defeated to just move back on the other hand. And level 16 talents are also close. Don't want to risk anything here. So the big problem that we now have, on top of them already having a very scary comp, is that the comp got even scarier on level 16. First of all, because you have Juggernaut, but another big reason is that we also now see heavy impact here. Tenacious Roots, heavy impact, Juggernaut, reabsorption to keep the target safe, the Northern Exposure on top of it as well. It's all about blowing up a target immediately. Linked has to be super on point right now with the Aegis. So, yeah, let's see. Once again, there's the Aegis, okay. Now they have to go in. Tikazoi is there. They need to somehow save Zul, which is not going to be easy. Yeah, there was no ult on Tyrael. He couldn't go. He was still on cooldown, and now they're just getting wrecked. Yeah, Blade goes in with his Varian, and this is a team wipe, and therefore we are going to see game number 1 headed over to the team in blue, the Bees, with the lead in the series. 30 stacks on Muradin at the end of the game, having another 145 damage on his hero. It's also to a certain extent at least reflected in his damage output, but the crown is taken by Jaina, at least on the blue team. On the red team we have Gul'dan with it. So yeah, really well done. GG, and a 1-0 lead on the side of the Bees against the Jabronis. We got burned in the last game by the Bees, promising us a frog in a bubble and not falling through. Varian was the pick, and they actually made it work. So 2 with the Spider Queen is map number 2. The Bees going up against the Jabronis. And yeah, Blade explained it this way. He said like the draft tool does currently not really entail Varian yet. That's why they picked Murky there. Personally, I actually think that is an excuse that I just simply cannot accept. And we have sent a couple of angry Murky or Riot tweets ADR this way. I can promise you that much. So I highly volunteer. I want to make sure that we get a Murky there. But let's see. So, the Jabronis with a ban on Tacita, which is a ban that actually surprises me. I mean, yes, Tacita gives nice vision. I mean, don't get me wrong, like Tacita, of course, is like a really decent pick. Can be on Tomb, and he is quite strong in the sense that he provides you with a lot of vision. But at the same time, I'm not really sure if that is the hero that you have to ban out here. Of course, Tacita usually is played in double support roles where you try to enable a melee assassin. Basically, Tacita is an enabler. So, yeah. He's like... No, everything that's in my head right now that I want to say to make an analogy with Tacita is going to offend someone, so I'm just not going to do it. We have a Malfurion picked first. So, good old Malfurion is already taken here, the man with the green beard. And I'm not quite sure why exactly the beard is irritating me more than like the thingies, the horns in his head. But yeah, so TBD with a Tychus and specking early into a Johanna. Now we could have seen a Johanna already on Braxis. It's again one of the wave clear heroes that is of course quite nice. We see her a lot more these days actually, not only on those wave clear maps, but on those in particular. So Jojo is making a bit of a reappearance in a time when everybody is battling over Muradin and over ETC. But Johanna has a lot of survivability. And therefore, yeah, you need to manage a cooldown on the Iron Skin, of course, quite a bit. Your opponent is always going to look out for when exactly that is going to be off cooldown, on cooldown, and then they are going to try and jump you. But the Jabronis, they're relying on something that they have shown in the last few games. They're going back on cooldown. The guy with the massive overbite that, in my personal opinion, is just angry all the time because he has a severe toothache. So he's being drafted here again. It's just another one of these maps where Gul'dan shines. There's 3 maps where Gul'dan excels, and that is Infernal Shrines, Tomb of the Spider Queen, and Abraxas. So he's drafted again. Maka is just like spamming out the Gul'dan games here today. They don't have a frontliner yet, so we could see them actually head into a Muradin here. We have, at this point, ETC banned, Johanna taken. TBD could, in theory, ban out Muradin too, and force them into some kind of like Tyrael comp, and it seems more and more likely that that's going to happen. We have the Jabronis actually with the Sylvanas, and you know what? If they now pick, what was it? Zul? What did they play in that? I think it was a Muradin that they played in that game that we had a bit earlier today. But they played Zul Sylvanas, so I'm not quite sure if TBD watched these games or if they are afraid of that happening. But Zul gets actually more value here than it did the last time when they played that on Access together. But they ban out the Leoric for now. That kind of yells Cho'Gall. I mean, with any other team, I would have said no. With TBD, I'm saying this yells Cho'Gall. They were always kidding and saying, like, well, even if we can move an opponent to ban Cho'Gall out against us, it's already a big win. But we have, at this point, first of all, Jaina banned out, since they're apparently a little bit afraid of going into burst. It's not really the setup that you would usually use for Cho'Gall, because normally you do that when you have the last double pick. But getting rid of Leoric would be one thing in favor of a Cho'Gall. TBD plays Cho'Gall. Normally it's on different maps. They love to play it in particular on Infernal Shrines, but Tomb is another great map for it. It's a bit sad. I would have loved to see them go for it. But like the Leoric ban, I'm a little bit weirded out by they actually go and ban Leoric, especially since we still have so much stuff. Like they banned Leoric over a Muradin. Maybe because they wanted to go into Morales anyways, and they're a little bit afraid of them just like using the Entomb properly. But with the setup that they have here, I'm not quite sure if that really needs to be a concern of theirs. So the Leoric ban is something that I don't understand 100%. Maybe they were just trying to bait a ban. We have seen teams do that. They don't really care too much about what else is being picked. They want to bait a ban out maybe. Brightwing as a support would work. You can play whatever you want here. There's currently no real engage potential that I would be afraid of. But they could delay their pick on the healer and just say they pick it last, depending on what happens here, and maybe then play Morales. They wanted to play her, but they are a bit afraid, I guess, what's being picked now, since there could be dive potential and then Morales is in trouble. Instead, they settle for Rhaegar, which is still fairly nice with the Ancestral, of course. Has a bit more wave clear than on top of that, too. But we have a Muradin right now, and that doesn't really surprise me. This is why I'm actually surprised that Leoric was banned, because I thought they would just simply ban out Muradin instead. It's the much stronger tank. And Leoric gains extra value on 2 on the Spider Queen, of course. But Muradin, he's not really a solo tank. Muradin, on the other hand, is. I would be kind of shocked if they don't pick him here. Question is what's going to be the last pick. And with Muradin taken, a Kerrigan against you, what do you play here? I mean, you have Sylvanas Gul'dan. Tyrael with that? I'm not really happy with the Tyrael. A Thrall, I like that more, yeah. Not quite sure if... Yeah, I actually like, from everything that I was considering right now in my head, Thrall is by far the best. Yeah, I'm not gonna fall for that. I've seen your Murky before. So I assume that's gonna be Varian again, right? So let's just say for now it's Varian. I hope it's Murky, I hope I'm wrong. Like, we started a protest. Maybe it's really Murky. We'll see in the lobby. But with that being said, TBD is ahead, so we're going to go into game number 2. 2 of the Spider Queen is the map, guys. And yeah, let's jump in and see who's going to take it here at the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final, semi-final. All hail Twitch chat. We complained and we were listened to. We got a frog in a bubble because we have Murky. They actually did it. I really thought they would go into the Varian again, but we are at this point having a Murky in the game. Blade is on Kerrigan for the Bees. We have Bad Benny on Johanna. We're currently seeing Nick on Tychus, Kirsten on Rhaegar. And after the last game, they said, why would we get Varian if we can get Murky? And there he is. Okay, I'm horrible at making Murky sounds. Gul'dan, on the other hand, on the side of Jabronis, played by Murky again. Dikozoy and Sylvanas. Rosmag on Merlin, linked on Malfurion. And Kronos is playing a Thrall. So, Murky. Yeah, the fish tank. The fish tank on level 1. There we have him. And it is a best of 3, of course, so keep that in mind. And yeah, so... we currently we have Murky at that top lane, and I cannot wait to see how this is going to happen. This is actually going to be really good. At this point, we're... Johanna, my girl, what happened to you? You're supposed to be the unkillable. There's a video about you, a hero trailer that shows you as unkillable. You're not supposed to die. You're not supposed to feed. Like, what happens to you? This is just sad. I'm a sad panda right now. So, down to the bot lane, we're currently Nick, but we need a little bit more, we have him, AD-RD on the Mechano Spider. Like, this is one of the maps which is actually kind of fun. Like, you know, when you could still get, like, a lot of, like, quest done and stuff and experience when you were playing versus AI. I have to admit that back then I played, like, versus AI a couple of times as well. And it's kind of interesting and funny how many tryhards are in games against bots. When you play against a bot, you know you're going to win the game. And we had this one guy on this map that started to shot call. And he was just like, turn in right now, turn in, oh my god, you have to turn in. Like, with 3 levels ahead and stuff, and he just still yells. And people got so annoying and so toxic that we actually started lying to him. So I started to tell him, like, dude, I'm not going to turn in. He's like, oh my god, you suck, you are so bad, deinstall the game. Well, we were 4 levels ahead, by the way, against bots. And I'm like, dude, but I want to have the special mount. And he's just like, what? What mount? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. Ah, I hate my life. And I basically just told him that if you get 100 coins, that you get a special mount that Blizzard gives you as a reward. It's just an Easter egg. And from that point on, he just like shut up the rest of the game, was collecting gems, and was begging us to not end the game before he has 100, before he wanted the mount. Another guy confirmed what I was saying, so he picked up immediately on what I was doing. And we shut that guy up for good. Told him, of course, at the end of the game as we were destroying the core, and he flipped out completely. That's what you have to do when you're playing like quick matches stuff. Lie to people, make your experience a little bit funnier. But while I'm ranting here about stuff that probably doesn't interest you at all, by the way, don't do that at home, you're not going to get a secret mount. We have level 4 talents already on the side of the Jabronis, and they go for Kerrigan, and Blade went a bit deep here. So far, the Murky strat is not working out, but I have a whole lot of confidence in the Frog. I'm just realizing now how horribly biased I am for Murky, which is not a good thing. So let's focus a little bit on what the Jabroni is doing here right now. Because, well, I've been like talking about this, the one thing that you already picked up on screen is that we have a rotation that is more or less being won by the red team. The Jabronis have a sick amount of wave play here, especially when we're talking about Sylvanas plus also Gul'dan on top of that. So they're just like bursting away these waves that are coming in from the mid and the top lane and rotate. They got 2 kills already. They have Murky now at the bot lane where he belongs, going up against Thrall. But the rotation is pretty easily won by the Jabronis, and they're doing very well with this. So at this point, we're having them in a pretty decent setup where Roskmag has to pause the game. Bad Benny and Nick are basically kind of safe here, but it's all about the turn-in right now, because that is more that is a turn-in that they can get completely. Mark and Digozoi nearly have turned in. Lagef, just wait before Zeratul dies on a fort. Kappa. No Zeratul in there, but I guess a few people at least will catch that reference. NA. In a HTC level confirmed there. Now is basically Zuna. It always happens to Zuna, doesn't it? Like, he has a really rough time. I don't understand. That guy is so unlucky when it comes to that. But anyways, the rotation is being won, so we're gonna see the first Web Weaver wave most likely in favor of the red teams. They're currently doing pretty well. The problem that, of course, then happens for the Bees is that they were up against the Johanna. Up against Sylvanas. And Sylvanas is going to give them a very, very, very rough time. We have Lost Soul, we have Paralysis, and that alone is already very annoying when you have Web Weavers barreling against your walls and you can't do anything about it. Improved life tap, by the way, has now been taken on the side of Gul'dan, so Maka changing his build a little bit compared to what we had in the last few games. So the Frog went into the bigger slime with a slime radius here. But yeah, at this point, let's see how that's gonna work out for the turn-in. I'm really a bit afraid what happens when we see that turn-in. With Sylvanas, you can snowball this so hard, and if Marka in the backline is just like spamming out his corruption the entire time, then it's going to become a massive, massive issue. So I'm not quite sure what the Bees should actually do yet. I mean, ideally, of course, they get a kill. When we have a level 10, and I suppose it's highly likely that Murky is just going to be able to do his thing, maybe with an Octograb. Depends a little bit on what we are seeing on the side of Rhaegar, I suppose. Sorry, Malfurion. And I guess he's going to go in the route into a cleanse, because they need a cleanse to make this work. But there's the Web Weaver wave. So we have been waiting for that. And the question is just now, how much damage will they be able to dish out with that Sylvanas disabling strike. Besides that, by the way, we have the sharpened blades and also the Psionic Pulse on the side of Karrigan. Blade is not really famous for going for the Q build. He has his own style of playing Karrigan. You have him every now and then with the Q build going full Ravage, but overall this is like the setup that he prefers, has a bit more of an impact there if he gets his combos off. So we have him with the Blade momentum, the blast momentum of Johanna. And we have cleansed on both sides with Murky going for the slime advantage and still trying to de-push the bot lane. But over here, this is really where things become again a little bit nasty. Stormbolt against Tychus, he couldn't really do too much there. Nice dodge on the combo. That Benny moved in out too. So they're really trying to defend this as much as they can, but they're pressured in with Karrigan really being pressured by Murd, and then therefore she doesn't have an easy time jumping in and go for another target, being not even on full health. So that looks like it's going to nearly be a fort. And I assume they're just going to hammer that in the ground at some point. Top lane has also been relieved of the towers. They're not even that far ahead as I would have thought, to be honest with you, in experience. But in a structural position, there's of course quite the edge that has been taken by the red team now. And they start to go for that fort anyways. So with this being down, they are close to level 9. And therefore the entire team. Murky at the bot lane. Where's Murky's act, by the way? Down there it is. Alright. So Murky has his act down there. We have Sylvanas now going into the barbed shot again. This seems really to be a talent that Dickazoy loves playing on Sylvanas. And this is another map where I could have seen him totally go into unstable poison. Normally barbed shot is super, super popular when you're playing her on the Battlefield of Eternity. But it's a bit more variation when we're talking about other maps. Nice! Good job by Link, good cleanse there. That would have been the death of Sylvanas if not for that cleanse. Cleansed out the combo, and yeah, if that didn't happen, if he didn't just use the cleanse in that moment, that would have definitely been a pretty severe kill. Nice dodge by ADRD, juking the Stormbolt, but now we have a combo, and that combo hits home, and down goes Gul'dan. Level 10 is there, he has the silence, they need to disengage. Guess who's trapped? It's Tychus, and he is down. Bad Benny might not even be able to escape the Earthquake. Oh, Stormbolt and Blade is dead. So a double kill against them. Started off with a kill against Gul'dan. which is always nice. The problem is just simply that they didn't have level 10 yet. It dropped for the opponent, and then things just went south. So, Horrify, Wailing Arrow, we're seeing the Earthquake on Thrall. In case that shocks you, it just means that you haven't really watched a lot of Heroes of the Storm in the last few days. That was a patch that improved the talent a bit. You know, gain Frostwall, Resilient stacks, the damage output is a bit more severe. So overall, Earthquake has become like the go-to talent. There's always a bit of an argument depending on who you talk to. Ooh, that's 23 gems for the Frog in the Bubble! That was 23 gems. Carrigan, Murky. Ah! Feels bad, man. Okay, that's a sad Frog right there. Yep, didn't get it. By the way, went into the March of the Murlocs. Murky is angry and wants to have some friends. They get the Web Weaver wave anyways, not really with the help of Murky, but we also have Commandeer Odin now in. So, we have our heroics, and we have now... again, in experience, it's still fairly even, which is kind of amazing considering the structural advantage that we see for the red team. But now they're starting to move in at the bottom. There's Carrigan with a combo, attempt at least. Yep, Cleanse has been used. Blade is on the run. What? How did that Storm Bolt hit? I don't know how it happened, but the Ancestor was good and saved them. Commandeer Odin, on the other hand, yeah, Nick is just barreling away, but the Web Weaver is already down, and they have to dash away from this one. The Murlocs are moving in just at the time when everybody else is saying, like, okay, screw the mid lane, we don't care for that anymore. Web Weaver is down, let's move up to the top and take the second one out. At the bot lane, the Web Weavers are still pushing, but over here, it's a bit of a fight, and Tychus is again in trouble. Rooted! And there's the silence from Varian. Carrigan is dead, and this is just a reckoning. Wow. Not quite sure if it's Murky, but yeah, whatever. Well, I'm pretty sure it's Murky. But overall, this is just not working out. So the Frog is just doing Frog things, and is taking down another 4 tier. Is still on the run. Yeah, chase Murky. This is the dream. If Murky buys time, that's all that he has to do. Okay, they want to go for the camp. Yeah. Kronos didn't really want to go for the camp. He was just chasing Murky. Murky made him look bad. So Kronos just like cool ass was walking down and said like, I didn't want to chase you anyways. I was headed for that camp the entire time. It is a mere coincidence that you found yourself in this area. But I don't care for you. But yeah, in this case, guys, of course, the worst decision would have been to chase Murky. This is one of the things that you still see way too often when you're looking at the Hero League or whatnot. Way too many people chase Murky around half the map and waste too much time with it. But as we talk about Murky, let's talk also about the level 13 talent that we now see for the team in blue. Oh, wow. Rosquack actually might fall down here. Oh, maybe not. Okay, he gets some help and is able to escape, but I had to pop his avatar. It's another red Web Weaver wave that is going to push in now, though, and the bot lane is, of course, the target. Top lane is going to fall anyways. Yeah, and there's the Sylvanas value again. But we have 13 versus 13 talents. Windrunner is now taken. We have a Burning Rage, the Eviscerate for the extra range, and we're seeing that's the stuff. Plus continuous slime on the side of Murky. So it's all about the slime for him. He's a very slimy fella. And with Gul'dan still in the middle, they might have a chance to make a bit of an engagement here. Pushing into an Odin always hurts. If you've done that before, you probably know what I'm talking about. So they are starting to move in for that, but yeah. Nick has to already start a step back and is of course trying to get his damage in with Tychus, which he by the way does. But yeah. No Giant Killer on the side of Thrall, he went instead into the Grace of Air. So it has a bit more survivability in this setup. Yeah, here come the Murkies. Tons of Murkies. Okay, Murlocs everywhere. Oh, the egg! The egg got killed by that nasty Web Weaver. The egg is down. God save the egg. Okay, so they defend. They have still it's still at 1 level. I mean, guys, of course, it's a Murky game. We're like kidding around a little bit here, but overall, the game is still kind of open, which is a bit surprising considering that it's 6 kills against 1 and all of the forts down against only 1 structure destroyed. So right now, it's like they need to get a couple of kills. They need to get a good engagement with Carrigan, jump in, get a kill, have a fight where they can maybe capitalize on the march of the Murlocs a little bit better than before, and then that might happen. But right now, it's the show of the red team. And if this game so far has taught us anything, it's do not draft Murky. It's sad to say. I love the Frog in the Bubble as much. Oh, maybe! Baby! No, don't, dude, don't. No, it hurts. Don't, please, no, mercy. Okay, the Frog died, Carrigan died, and we had also Johanna die. The egg was replaced because it nearly has fallen too, and now it's just like complete onslaught at that bot lane. And yeah, the one thing that we learn here is that boys do not go and play Murky. That keep is gonna fall. Yeah. And shots are fired by Nick, but we have a kill against Varian, so the healer is gone. Maybe they have a chance here. Carrigan is coming back. Carrigan, come on, girl. Oh, 80 RD with a kill against Thrall. Yeah, Murky is the new war chief. And I suppose that Muradin is going to die too. So maybe there's a fighting chance in this after all. Look at this. The keep might be gone, but now there's an opportunity to turn the game around and make the Murlocs great again. Curson in the mid lane with a bit of wave clear. It also provides him with level 16. The frog with his bubble is down in the bot lane, is doing his thing here. So yeah, good old Murky doing some love. And let's see, we have for now the aggressive defense. We're seeing also the armor piercing rounds. They go for the boss. Murky is not there yet. They get that easy. Even without a Marriage available, even without anything, I don't think that Murky can pull a Horrify off that really wins them the boss here. That would be pretty impressive. The Rejuvenating Bubble. It's actually interesting that Murky didn't even go for the Bubble talent on level 13, which we oftentimes see. But, yep, at this point, we are actually looking at them starting to make a comeback. It's 16 versus 16. Yes, the structural advantage is still severely in favor of the red team, but maybe they can make a bit of a comeback here. The engagement is going to happen, though, and keep in mind, with a heavy impact, Muradin has a few tools at his disposal now for a good stun. Not only that Stormbolt, but also, of course, him just hopping around like a little bunny and stunning everything out. Murky doesn't even fight right now. He murks at the bot lane. Where's his egg, by the way? Alright, so Murky's egg is right over here. Web Weavers are pushing in. This is the moment where you have to make some moves. And guys, we had a boss that didn't even take a fort. Just saying, alright? So there's the silence. That's a lot of heroic cooldowns already being used. Murky, yep, there we have them. Immediately the Murlocs, and they're starting to slow stuff down, but he's still trying to make a bit of a play for Muradin. They didn't get as much as they were hoping for, but they get Muradin, and that's the kill. Here's the Earthquake. It's too late already, and Nick still with the damage. The Web Weaver up at the top takes down the fort. The one at the bot lane is also starting to move through. They take a lead in experience. And will maybe even crush a keep? I'm not 100% certain about that. I kind of doubt it a little bit. Here comes the engage with another quick condemn. Iron Skin pop. They're going for good old Thrall. The combo doesn't hit. Carrigan is nearly dead, but gets healed. Once again, Curson with a point on Ancestral here. Well done. 7 kills against 8. The Murky value is there. Bot lane is being pushed. We need to de-push that, which opens up the mid lane for another attack against a fort. And when we're looking at also gems, we have all of a sudden a fair amount of gems in the hands of the blue team. The Bees with 32 right now that they can use to at least go halfway through to another turn-in, so they will do that. They will probably also like take a couple of the camps on the map. And the most important part, just look for the second at the levels. 18 versus 18, but a massive lead for the Bees, and that will result in them maybe even picking up level 20 faster. And that would of course be great. And Murky, now that the map is open, is all of a sudden starting to do what Murky does. Pissing everybody. It's amazing how many characters Blizzard has that just are designed to piss people off, right? We have Tracer, we have Medivh, we have Murky, and like all that stuff is just basically played to annoy people. Look at that, he's annoying 5 people right now. They're dropping everything here and they're saying like, die, frog, die. Where's the egg? And he spawns right there. Right next to it is like, I'm back. That's a little bit of a ballsy egg if you ask me. Nice placement. But yeah, bot lane is being de-pushed. It's the hunt for gems right now. Shiny things. That's why Blade is on the forefront. He likes shiny stuff. So they're turning in again. Don't have the mount yet. That was a nice dodge. Curson on the run. They go in. Murky. And the Murlocs are ready. The revenge of the Murlocs. Earthquake. Ice block. Linked is low though. The silence drops Murky. The heal again. Curson. Dude, what's up with you in this game? He is on point with that. down here. How on earth did Kerrigan die there? Nick and Blade were up against Muradin, and they both lost, so this is how it seems. So what looked like a great fight after we had that March coming in is now all of a sudden turning into a triple kill against them. And with that, we might witness the end of the game. It's only Rhaegar that is there, and he is a fierce dog, and that should not be underestimated, but I'm not quite sure if he's fierce enough to really stop 5 people that are aiming for the core. They don't have level 20 yet. He's just trying to buy time. Murky is on the move, is actually being back, but the core is being attacked, and Curson is still looking for an opportunity to dish some damage in. Yeah, he's doing what he can. Murky is back, cooldown is not ready, and this is very likely going to be a 1-1. Guys, don't do this at home. Don't draft Murky, but no Varian at least dies. Have taken the old geezer. PM on Curson, I'm not quite sure about that, but yeah, game's over, and we will see map number 3 between the Bees and the Jabronis. Okay guys, game number 3, we had the one and only true savior, Green Jesus, Frog in a Bubble Murky, fail on the last game. There's rumors out there that he just had a little bit of mercy with his opponent and did want to give them a fighting chance, because lately his battles have been a little bit too one-sided, and he wanted to make sure that people just are not too afraid of him. Frog Mano just subscribed, thank you very much for that, as we have ETC banned out once more. TVD, they hate ETC. They hate him. They said, like, a cow that can play the guitar, that's suspicious, let's ban this guy. And my hopes of seeing a little bit of Dehaka Shakalaka got crushed as well. Hopes and dreams destroyed, since Dehaka is actually banned out. So no global presence of him, and we're having Varian also at this point taken. So Malf as a start. Of course, he's super versatile, the cooldown reduction, innervate, mana that you give back. You have, I guess one of the few things that is really a bit of an issue is that you don't have an escape. You need to watch your positioning. Yeah, heal is over time and not necessarily burst, so that can be a problem. But overall, Malf at this point definitely one of the top three healers, if not the best healer. So TJ, aka the Jabronis, start with the Tassadar here. Every single time I see a Tassadar in my head, it's immediately like a Click, Illidan, or something else along those lines, like a Kerrigan, any kind of melee assassin setup where you want to run a double support. Very rarely do we see Tassadar solo supports, and if we do, it's normally not on Sky Temple. So yeah. What I would still consider is going to be drafted here. Tassadar Tracer. They actually do it. Okay, I didn't really think they would. I don't even know why. I mean, it's like the power comp. I thought in my head like that the Jabronis would rather prefer the melee assassin. Lewis Kenny, thank you very much for the sub. Cheers, bro. And yeah, the subs these days on Twitch are actually pretty cool. I mean, in case you haven't heard, but if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can actually connect it with Twitch, and then you can subscribe to someone for a month for free. Or I think you have to renew the subscription every month or subscribe to someone else. But that's a pretty cool feature that Amazon now implemented since they bought Twitch, so that's pretty sweet. So a Tracer and Tassadar comp. And TBD goes for one of those unkillable setups with Malfurion and Zarya. Like, I've seen like one game where you had a healer, Zarya plus Tassadar. It was disgusting. Nothing ever died. It was crazy. Like, the fights lasted forever. I think it was in Infernal Shrines then. But yeah, so the Jabronis with a pretty sweet setup thus far. The one hero that I actually haven't really seen a lot today, have we seen a false set game yet? I don't think so, right? What's up with the bird? I really want to see if people are starting... what I would love to see is people go back into a few more Season Marksman builds, because I think now that the cap on the talent is gone, if you have a decent early game, like an okay early game that gets you into the mid and late game, you dish out so much damage, like false set builds with Season Marksman on 1 and then Giant Killer, even if you go Reyna, but Reyna's in a complete different set of problems and we're not going to jump into it right now. But if you play a false set with that, the damage that you dish out against like frontliners, against a Muradin or whatnot, is insane. Like Muradin just goes in and gets 2-shot. Not quite, but like it's a pum 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 in your face and he's just completely gone. it surprises me that that hasn't been played more since the change was there. Of course, it takes quite some time, but on certain maps where you have decent rotation between lanes and you can make false start part of it, I would have thought that is being played a little bit more on a competitive level too. The one argument against it in competitive is always that it needs some time to really pick up traction, but it's not like it's useless before. So boys, thank you very much for the support. Thanks for the subs that we've just seen here. Thanks a lot for that. With the draft, we have Sylvanas being drafted right now, and that I feel is today at least a hero that is a winner. Like, Sylvanas has been drafted a lot today. But let's see how the Jabronis are going to continue with the next ban. I mean, right now, Muradin is most likely going to be picked up by them, so they don't have to ban out Muradin here, but they are banning Ethereal, just to be on the safe side, making that happen. So, Ethereal banned out, Sanctification, Holy Ground, fights around the boss is always an issue. Okay, that would okay. Now I want to stop you right there. I know that you are already intrigued by this. This is a Varian ban. I'm 100% confident that they are just picking Varian apparently, or banning Varian. Apparently Varian is not really part of the tool just yet, so it's just Murky as a substitute for the Varian ban. We have seen a couple of like Varian things here. It surprises me, on the other hand, to be honest with you. I don't really know if Varian would have been the best in this setup. I suppose he has the survivability with Zarya and Malfurion to really sustain himself as a solo tank, but in my head it was always him being the second tank, trying to provide that stun and utility and like being more played as a melee assassin. A bit like Bruiser type, like let's say a Thrall or a Sonya, for example. So yeah, it's an interesting ban there. But I suppose with them picking Muradin, and there's the frog, not the one in the bubble, but the one with wings, Varian might have been a good option. TBD at least has shown a bit of an affinity for Varian here, no doubt about that. So, TBD with Zul Sylvanas. Alright, if they lock that down, then they have the wave clear galore for them. This is one of the maps where Zul can actually rotate between mid and bot. It's not the best map for it, since the lanes are still pretty far apart. It can work, and there's good old Jojo. So, Johanna. Yeah, one ranged specialist here. If you're a little bit newer to competitive Heroes of the Storm, guys, get rid of one idea in your head where you are looking at this and they're like, oh my god, they have no assassin. That doesn't mean anything. This like idea that some people have that specialists are something that is not supposed to do damage, but more only like a siege damage class is completely crazy. We have some specialists that we have in the game are some of the best damage dealers that we have, and they do very, very well as assassins. But you see that every now and then still, if you are in draft, that some guy is just like starting, oh my god, or like comments in videos and where, oh my god, they have like so many specialists, they have no assassin, they can't win the game, has no damage. So yeah, abandon the idea directly. This is pretty difficult in wave clear. They don't have really a lot of on-point target damage though, that's a bit of an issue. I'm not quite sure if they could have maybe like swapped out the Zarya for something that does even more. Zarya herself, of course, has still good damage, so don't get me wrong. Overall, it adds up. And the Jabronis with Samuro. Okay, that was really bad. Okay, so we have our Blade Master in play, and yeah, he's a nuisance. I was talking about heroes that are just basically designed to annoy people. He's also one of those. But yeah, Tracer, there's two of them in the game. Tracer and Samuro at this point. I actually like that setup. It's really not bad. They don't have the wave clear potential though that we see on TBD. So TBD with the Johanna, Zul, Sylvanas, that's not too shabby when it comes to clearing waves out. So the push power is there. You don't even have to necessarily win the temples in the early game. You can just like push on lane, and that might actually be something that we're going to see. So it's the final map in the best of 3 series. Let's jump in, boys, and find out who's going to take the semi and who will advance, therefore, to the grand final of the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final. Coming up, Sky Temple. Boys, girls, we're getting trolled today. We actually have right now Leoric over Samuro, so not the way of the blade, it's the way of the maze, apparently. So yeah, Bad Benny to the left now, our third map here. The two beasts determined with Johanna, with Nick on Sylvanas, Zarya played by ADRD. Curson on Malfurion, and Blade on Zul. And on the right side of the map, Dickosaur and Tassadar, linked on Brightwing, Kronos on Leoric. Maybe that's Samuro and he died, and like, no, I can't make that work. Mako on Tracer. Is that a frog in a bubble? And Roskmeg on Muradin. Alright, so we have a double tank setup, so no Samuro after all, and well, that can still work. In this case, we're actually starting things with a bit of a stack talent here. Look at that, reanimation. Normally, we see... It's interesting that we normally have a bit more of a focus onto the Drain Hope these days. It's not all the time reanimation. There was a time when it was like the only talent to take on the hero. But of course, the one hero that we are watching out for is especially Tracer. I mean, we have to have a bit of a look for that. So, in case that you're a little bit less familiar with the normal setup that you're running on Sky Temple, we normally have a bot laner, or 2 bot laners are facing each other. The first 2 temples are static, and they spawn at the top and in the middle, and then the one after that spawn at the bot lane. So later on, Brightwing is going to make sure that she takes position up at the top lane, so that you get some extra experience, some extra wave clear up to the point where you have to join the 4 versus 4 or 4 versus 5 fight down at the bottom of the map. At first though, we have normally 2 bot laners going up against each other, and teams just trying to make sure that they get at least 1 complete temple. In this particular setup, you can already tell that it's slightly different, and that's mainly because we have such a heavy wave clear setup on the side of TBD. We've been talking about it in the draft a little bit. Zul is currently rotating, and he's not alone. He's actually rotating together with Johanna, and they just burst these waves away quite easily, which allows the rest of the team to push at the top lane with the help of Sylvanas. So one of the things that you are definitely going to see in this game is that occasionally TBD is very likely to just simply abandon an objective and just try to get pressure by taking down structures manually. That's totally worth it. As long as you just push through faster, you're in a decent spot there. Kronos is at this point just like trying to get some experience in here, but Blade is rotating quite nicely. Puts the pressure on against Leoric, as we are seeing up at the top lane. This push that I've been talking about a bit earlier, plus a temple taken on top of it too. The early level 4 talent. Oh, Nick might fall here. Nick does fall, and the Ragdoll is making a complete jump onto the other side of the map nearly. But yeah, that provides now level 4 talents also on the end of the Jabronis, where we have, after reanimation, the fealty onto death. So a lot of lane sustain and survivability now on the side of Leoric, who's here at the bot lane. Up to the top, Murky is still zipping around with his Tracer, and I mean, of course, the Q-bot is just trying to provide shields as much as possible, with Leeching Plasma helping out with this already. But once that we have the pre-shield coming in after the level 7 talent and Khaldor's Embrace being a thing, that's of course when Tracer starts to really shine with this. Brightwing herself also with a Hyper Shift build, going into the unstable anomaly. There we go. That was a hard one. And tries to just provide a little bit more damage there too, but it's more likely that we are going to see her just go straight into the shield. Question is still, are we going to see a cleanse there? We have Bone Prison, we have Roots on the ground, and we have also the stuns that can come out of Johanna then later. So there's definitely quite a bit of potential for a cleanse to be useful. But of course, if you go for the cleanse, you will have the extra shield on Brightwing that can spec in. Tracer herself with a vision, the Tracer rounds taken, the parting gift, and down here, the party has started. Brightwing, as promised, was at the top lane, but jumped in now. Temple hasn't even been announced yet, but the kill may be Cursen. Ah, nice. This kill, ladies and gentlemen, this kill was brought to you by the level 1 talent on Tracer, the Tracer rounds. Getting vision over a wall. Are you afraid that your enemy is going to escape and just simply gets away with a few hit points? Don't worry any longer. Tracer Rounds is here to make your day a success and take your opponents down in straight. Yeah, so Tracer Rounds providing vision over the wall, therefore he could get the kill. So we also have Jumper now taken with the increased blink charges. I mean, oftentimes after we have the parting gift, you have the spatial echo taken on 7. In this case, though, we have a little bit more, like 1 additional charge that they are speccing into. With this, we have also the camps taken. I mean, interestingly enough, this one hasn't even been started yet, and Roskmek will be a little bit late if he actually starts to take that right now, or am I crazy? Did I misread the timer when they completed the temple? I must have, because I thought they would be a bit too late than that, but they are actually not. So, both of them are going to push through. This is going to provide Zul, on the other hand, with a bit of an opportunity to get this one pushed up to the fort here. So, yeah, he stays fairly long for now, and is actually still attempting to stay here. So this is exactly what I said earlier. Zul will push, and he will push hard, and he can make that happen. At the bot lane, we still have that battle over the temple, and that's of course the second temple phase, with Malfurion going into the mule. Nice, getting some heal value here, repair value. I like that. It's a very German talent to take. Very efficient. So, there's a 5 versus 4 now, so you have to let that go. Basically, in Heroes, you always have to make sure that you kind of judge the fight that is coming up and what you have. Like, it's all about learning when you have to let something go and when you can fight. So, they let the bottom objective go. And as I explained at the beginning of the game, we have now pushes happening on several lanes. We're seeing Nick pushing through the mid lane. And we have up at the top lane now all of a sudden Blade doing the exact same thing more or less. So he's going to try and make that happen, just like pushing that in, getting the fort here and getting value out of that. So with that added value there, you can let the objective go. That's absolutely fine, as long as you get some counter value at the top lane. And right now it's working out nicely. So the bot lane is still being held. That also prevents the team here to push in with those 4 remaining heroes that they have at the bot lane. And thanks to the mule, they, they can still hold the fort. As long as Zul doesn't die and lose out on the experience that he claims, that's all fine. Yes, he's draining ammunition. He's actually doing really well with this. And yeah, that doesn't... Yeah, that looks pretty sweet. Okay, so 10 is even faster for them. And that's why we have the Expulsion Zone now coming into play as well. Look at the talents here again. So Expulsion Zone taken for isolation, blessed shield, and they are pressuring hard through the bot lane. And that's also brought to you by Tassadar, who had to go back for mana. Ronas over here, yeah, there's the Bone Prison, and Tomb is on the ground. And this is where the party starts. And Tomb on the ground. We also have like Tracer again trying to make her way into the backline, putting some pressure onto heroes like Sylvanas. Yeah, not really working just yet. The silence is through as well, jumping out, and they are getting really low here. With the shields that ADRD provides, plus that in addition to that, Malfurion himself, nobody is really falling too far below in hit points, and they are starting to just push it back. Bad Benny, it's the question, does he still have his Iron Skin? Because if not, then he is screwed. And thanks to the wall, we have that kill there. Dickazoid, nice. So, Blade already on the move back, but the counter kill against Tassadar. Blade is down. Alright. Blade eliminated, double kill is the 1-for-2 trade, but Tracer isn't done yet, trying to go for Nick. Oh, and another Entomb, wow, is back already. How long was this fight? Blade actually rage quitting the game, Kappa. Now, of course, he's going to be back disconnecting here for a moment. Since they don't pause the game, I assume like he only had a bit of a lag. Is he back already? He must be. I mean, Zul is still down, and yes, Blade is already back. Okay, so just like a glitch. Has rejoined the game, 1 kill against 4, but look at the experience, 11 versus 11, and now of course it's a pretty decent trade that you can make here. The Mule is going to get very good value if you use them properly, and Curson is in a position where he can now just like drop those whenever. Once the temple at the top is being taken, this is of course the one that is being attacked, so he already has the Mule in there, trying to just bait out a few additional shots. Nobody's taking that down yet, and they might be able to save the fort a little bit longer. So it's going to be another task for the red team, for the Jabronis, to actually confirm takedowns or kills on structures and just really destroy them. Nice dodge here against the roots. It's still being followed. Mule getting a couple of more additional shots baited out, but of course overall couldn't really save the fort yet. The bot lane, on the other hand, has also taken a bit of damage, might be completely repaired by the Mule in the upcoming minutes. For now, we have still Bad Benny clearing the wave in the mid lane, and the teams are aiming for level 13. But here comes the menace of the Nexus. It is Tracer. Just dancing around there, and ADRD is completely... Oh, yeah, there's the Entomb again. Oh, but Leoric is down. ADRD is most likely going to fall, or is he? Looks like he's not. He's just barely survives. Tracer, and on the other hand, and Mirrodin are all very low. Tracer is dead, actually. And this could be the end. This is the end of Tassadar. With Brightwing falling just shortly before that, we have now a quad kill against the team in red, against the Jabronis. The Mule has been dropped, so is now, as promised, starting to repair the structure down here. And that is adding so much on this map. Boss is immediately being attacked. It's a bit of a ballsy move, to be honest, but I mean, Tassadar and Tracer are going to need some time until they are there. Oh, the boss with a stun. Leoric, what? Leoric actually gets away, he's still being healed, and all of a sudden we're seeing TBD realizing, boys, this isn't going to happen. Or is it? Yep, boss with the potential stun against Mirrodin. Not just yet. Tassadar is on his way in. They need to go on the point! They are not! They completely abandoned it. Expulsion Zone was still on cooldown, couldn't be used. Boss stole it away. That was... what? They actually stole the boss. Oh god. This isn't good. Yeah, so now we have another Entomb. Kronos is just dropping them like Mirrodin is dropping candy. ADRD is drained, not only by hope but also by life, and Maka might get the kill. He should get the kill, and he does. Quick parting gift in the face, and then he's out of there, dropping that E and going for the recall. Bot fort is already eliminated, and now we're starting to see it push through towards the wall at the keep. Tracer on 13 with a bullet spray, allowing her to dish a bit more AoE damage out against waves. And Blade is also falling right now. Or is he? Nice dodge, actually. Wow, kudos. Well done. Blade with a cool move there. They even keep the fort alive for now. Link wants to get a bit more damage in, but the Mule is still doing its work. But with Maka zipping in, it could actually... This is what I've been talking about earlier. They want to confirm the takedown. They want to destroy the structure so that the Mule doesn't get value. And they went deep for it, but they didn't get punished. So it's 13 versus 13 now. We're having the pain is temporary again. This is the standard build of ADRD. I've seen him use this build in nearly every single game that he used with Varian so far. We're going into the pinpoint accuracy. It's all about the particle grenades there. So going to take that here too. But yeah, structural advantage, very much so in favor of the Jabronis. Also in experience and not too far behind. The push potential, of course, is always dangerous. The builds, I've been talking a little bit about Leoric going for a different build before already. I mean, he has reanimation, he went into the field here on the death. We have him then on 7 with the ghastly reach. So it's all about the wave clear and the extra sustain. Ghastly reach actually works together quite nicely with fealty on the death, if you burst these waves down quite easily. And we have the Crushing Hope now. Crushing Hope works extremely well with Entomb, because you're more or less guaranteed after you Entomb to get a complete duration of Crushing Hope through. So in that sense, you have a lot of extra damage that you can bring to the table. And that extra damage is usually reflected in his numbers as well. Currently he's at 25. It's the second highest damage dealer on his side, on his team, just behind, well, of course behind Tracer. I mean, she is still the top dog in that team when it comes to damage output. Right wing at the top lane, going for the split push, and here we have the Entomb again. Zarya immediately with the shields everywhere. Muradin is in. Muradin with the expulsion zone is in a really shitty spot there. It was well done by ADRD, making sure that nobody else could follow in too, and Muradin was also completely stunned out there. 16 talents are there. Muradin actually going for give him the axe. There was no stun. Here comes the silence. Nick is low. The silence against Leoric, but Blade is about to die. He's still not dead though. Here we go. Azul kill confirmed. Nicely done. Another good wall here. Look at that. And that's the end of Johanna. Nick himself, nah, he's not gonna fall. But it's a 3-4-0, and the level 16 talent that dropped just before the fight got really serious. That was, of course, a big part of it. So now we had, for example, Critterize taken. That was already a huge game changer. The Unyielding Despair, locked and loaded, and given the axe. I'm actually not 100% certain that he was meaning to take it. Not because it doesn't make sense. You can make good arguments for giving him the axe here. But the way that he jumped on a target as 16 hit, I mean, his level 16 talent hit and immediately Muradin jumped. And you can, of course, quick pick talents with your keys, with your hotkeys. So I can totally see that he actually misclicked on the hotkey and then jumped in for the stun. And yeah, mistyped here. I'm not saying he did. Like, I actually don't know. I would have to ask him. But it looked a little bit like he wanted to really stun the target when he jumped in after the level 16 talent was hit. And I was really surprised that he wasn't stunned. That was the moment when I saw that he actually went in to give him the axe. So yeah, he has to capitalize off slows, of course, and that's something where he can work with Brightwing. He can work also with especially Leoric here. And the damage output on Muradin is going to increase for sure. It definitely gives them a little bit more damage. And you don't necessarily need that extra stun here. The utility is great, but damage output is also quite nice. You can, interestingly enough, make these days also arguments to go into Skullcracker if you plan to do something like that, because you have increased attack speed. The kill against Brightwing here at the top lane is also pretty important. Leoric was trying to provide a blink heal target. And guys, I can only please implore you, if you are playing any kind of like setup and you have a Brightwing on your team and she's in trouble, just stay a little bit closer, provide her with a blink heal target so that she can actually escape. Think about your Brightwing in your team. I know only a dead Brightwing is a good Brightwing, but sometimes there are few. If they're on your team, you still have to work with the evil forces to try and get a bit of a success story out. I have zero idea why Diko's just went back. I really don't know. He had full mana nearly, full health. Why did he just be back? I'm not certain what triggered that. Were they thinking that maybe there's like an attack happening against, like a push with Sylvanas against the keep? I mean, that could have been the thought process. I just wanted to be on the safe side, moved back and said like, hey, if they start to push in, I drop a force wall, they're going to be stalled out for a bit, and I buy time for you to come back so that we don't lose anything here. That might have been the idea, because he definitely didn't go back to the Nexus because he wanted to have mana or health. So yeah, that might have been the case. So right now, 16 versus 16 talents, where we have, first of all, the Cold Embrace, born in battle as well. So yeah, cooldown reduction, and that's more shields. And we have still the level lead on the side of the Jabronis. This is really one of those things where you have to start. You have to take a fight now. Your opponent isn't 20 yet. You want to fight now. Rasmek in the back line with the damage. Give him the axe. Muradin is moving in. Silence is out. They want to go for Muradin. The dwarf. And whoa! The slaughter! The skeleton mages. Did you see that? Zul goes in and completely wrecks face. Wow, that was awesome. The silence is in there. They all go in. We have another wailing arrow hitting home. And this time the boss is not going to be stolen. But Zul drops the skeleton mages. They're all locked in place. Roots of no Varian everywhere. And then all of a sudden it's just like swing, swing, swing. And Zul says like, hello fellas, how you doing today? Having the Decrepify in for additional slow, the amplified damage in there, using of course his backlash. Like that was a really nice engaging approach that we saw there. Stacking up like that, that hurt a lot. And all of a sudden we not only see the bees in the lead in experience, we have them with a death push at the bot lane. Now the Sylvanas value is going to come in play with that boss. They are starting to go in right away. Oh, this is going to be nasty. Yes, Brightwing is back, but that boss is still more or less at full health, and Sylvanas is doing her thing. The boss is there, engaging on that is going to be tricky. Yep, the Entomb misses as well. Insult to injury right there. That is not really looking good. And all of a sudden, oh, hop little dwarf, hop. That could be game. That's level 20 talents that we have right now. That could very well be game at this point. I mean, just look at those numbers for just a second. We have by now Zarya with most of the hero damage, actually. Oh, again! Silence after silence! A kill, a double kill. Oh, baby, it's a triple. It's a quintuple. Give me the quintuple. A quadruple. I just invented a new number thingy. And yeah, well done. The bees, and the mana mule is being dropped too. The bees with the 2-1 victory. What do you know?